I'm Joe Kane.
I'm Dan Kane.
And I'm Wayne Heckler.
And this is the Imperfect Podcast.
Don't forget to check us out on hecklerkane.com and all social media.
To the bumper.
So up today on the Imperfect Podcast, we managed to get Rich Graff of Making of the Mob on AMC.
He's Lucky Luciano himself.
He's actually an award-winning actor. He was born and raised in the heart of New York City.
Did you know that he was also the Gerber baby?
I had no idea. That's insane.
Yeah. He was one of the Gerber
One of
babies.
the Gerber
I don't know that he was
He
the
grew up
Gerber
now. He could actually speak. He's not just a Gerber baby anymore.
Well, he's not just a picture on a box.
So we don't have to have like mashed sweet potatoes ready for this interview or anything?
No, but I do crave, the
Baby carrots? And
the squashed peas every once in a while.
I don't know.
He got some cool projects coming up. I'm very interested to see what he got in store for us.
Yeah, not only he's a really talented guy. He's got a great career going right now. Making of the Mob, as we mentioned, 2 seasons playing Lucky Luciano, and
the New York-based one and the Chicago-based one.
Chicago, and then from there, he was just in a movie with Heather Graham called My Dead Boyfriend, and he's in the process of producing 2 movies and 2 TV series. So he's a busy dude. We really appreciate him taking out the time to come speak with us. I have to give a huge shout out to Carolyn Sames on Twitter, who hooked us up. She does PR on Twitter for a lot of folks. She's been really kind to us. She's one of our biggest fans and proponents. So Carolyn, thanks for introducing us to Rich. Here's the interview. Hey, Rich, welcome to the Imperfect Podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you very much.
And we know you're a fellow New Yorker. So we're out here on Long Island. And but where did you actually grow up? You grew up you're in the city, Jersey. Where'd you grow up?
So I was born in Brooklyn, but raised in Queens. My parents still live in Howard Beach. They still have a house there. I was first raised in Ridgewood, Queens. And now I just live in the city, reside in the city. I'm in Los Angeles quite a bit, of course, for work.
That's awesome. We're, like I said, we're out here on Long Island, and it's great to connect with local talent and actors. And you've obviously, your career has been just on a rocket ship since joining Making of the Mob on A&E. And but before we get to that, how long have you been acting, and where did that come from? And did you ham it up when you were a kid, or like? Well,
he was a Gerber baby, correct?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, it's a strange story. There was like someone in the lobby of the hospital, and as my parents were bringing me out, they offered to put me on the Gerber list. I don't know where they saw me or who saw me or who connected us together, but very kind of strange story. But that's been my life, really. I've just always been geared toward stories. Film. As a child, I would go to the movies on a Saturday for the matinee at about 10 a.m. and I would leave half blind at about 8:30 p.m. Spent the entire day there. Rented every movie that probably ever existed as a teenager. Just always, intrinsically loved the storytelling part of film and TV.
Your educational background. Any professional acting classes? Did you train professionally, or is this just a natural ability that you've come to?
I think we all have something about us that draws attention to us, and this, whatever it is about us. But, I've been with some really great acting teachers. Win Hanman, for one, who's taught everyone from Red Buttons to Richard Gere. I was at T. Schreiber Studios. There's a lot of, I went to a lot of studio and professional acting school. I actually got my graduate law degree before I even started acting. My bachelor's degree is in literature and writing, and then I went on for my graduate law degree after that. So I did not even get into acting until about 6 years ago.
Gotcha. So you were doing the brains before the brawn.
Then you were cast in your first television role, right, as detective on the Law and Order Criminal Intent?
Correct. I was actually even before I had an agent, which was kind of cool. They brought me in. I was, of course, nervous as all can be. And fortunately, I booked the role, which was nice. And then, slowly but surely, I was able to gain some confidence, get an agent, get a manager, And, I was always thinking there'd be a perfect time to leave my 9-to-5 job, but there never really was. So I had to just kind of like take a little bit of a leap of faith and do it on my own.
Well, talking about a leap of faith, I mean, what point do you go from going, okay, I can do this and do this outside of like still holding a 9-to-5 job, taking days off? What point do you go, okay, I do take that leap of faith and go, I'm going to be a full-time actor and this is going to be my career?
There's never going to be a perfect time. There's never going to be a time where you make enough money to say, okay, even if I don't work for a couple of months or whatever it is, I'll have made enough from whatever that was to support myself. It's never going to be that time. You have to take life in terms of what gives you pleasure, rather than just working for life for making money and accumulating wealth. Because, as we all know, you can't take it with you, and And listen, it's not for everyone. Some people are interested in just accumulating wealth and being defined by how much they're worth, but that's just not for me.
Right. You just follow the dream. You feel it that strongly.
Really, it's not a dream for me. It's more of some predisposed vision that I've had, since I was a young child, really.
You just knew you were going to do it. You just felt it.
I knew,
sure,
pretty much.
Of course. Awesome. That's great.
So growing up as a child, being a fan of movies, what actors or what movies did you really get inspired by as a youth?
Oh, wow. As a young boy, I really liked John Ritter from Three's Company.
Yeah.
Nice.
For whatever reason, his physical comedy and his disposition, and it just made me laugh, and it gave me great joy. And he was one of the reasons I went into acting, I think. I mean, it was a great person too, a great man.
And his father was a country singer also.
Yes, that's right. His dad was a country singer and a TV personality.
Correct.
Just a great person. His son is a pretty good actor now too.
Yeah.
And you're a musician as well, is that correct?
Yeah, I grew up playing the piano, the horn, the drums, all by ear. I started reading the music, but then for some reason, somehow, I just knew that I could play it just by kind of like playing with it a little bit and finding which notes are the correct notes.
Sure. We're all musicians also. Maybe you could tell with all the guitars in the background. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, one of our fans on Twitter, Lisa, at Cooking Up Fun 55, she actually wanted to know what instruments you play. So we got to that. We got to that for her.
Well, let's get specific. You said you do play the horn. What particular horn?
Well, I played the 2-valve, the 3-valve, the trombone.
Wow.
The larger, what is it called?
Tuba or what?
Well, the larger one, the one that you kind of hold like this.
Baritone horn?
Yeah, the baritone, a bunch of
euphonium, baritone horn.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. How long has it been since you picked up one of those? Been a while.
The piano I still play from time to time, but you guys are musicians, so it's like anything else. It's a physical memory. It's a very fine-tuned type of skill to have. So, it's acquired over a long period of time.
Excellent. And it was French horn, probably. That's the instrument you were thinking of, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just remember now, right? French horn, right?
There we go.
3 musicians in a room. Let's figure out what is the instrument that this guy plays.
That's excellent. Have you used any of your music in films?
No, but as you can guess, my ear for music allows me to kind of help with putting music in that I like with certain scenes and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Of course. So let's talk a little bit about your role in Making of the Mob. Sorry. So you played Lucky Luciano. You were basically the lead. I mean, really powerful role for you. How did that go? How did the auditions go for that? How did you land this role?
Honestly, I had auditioned for six different roles in the show.
Wow.
I first auditioned for Al Capone, and then Vito Genovese. I mean, I went in, I think, for every role except for Lucky.
Oh, right.
And then at the 6th audition, they said, the director loves you, production company loves you, so all you have to do now is paint your hair black, put on some brown contacts, put on a vintage 1920 suit, and then we'll send in the pictures to the executives at AMC, and if they okay you, you're all set. So I'm just glad that they actually accepted me, and I'd have to go through all that and get rejected.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
really
congratulations
awesome.
on that. I
Congrats.
mean, 2 seasons, right? You guys wrapped the second season already.
Right.
Are there plans for a third installment?
No, there was never really a plan for a second season. I think we created such an enormous fan base that the viewers demanded it. So I can't see why they wouldn't go somewhere else, visa Las Vegas or anywhere else. They can even move up the dates in New York if they wanted to bring it up to current speed or 80s and 90s.
Out of curiosity, I mean, you going into if they go into a third season and everything, do you think you would end up being a part of it? I mean, it's kind of a historical sort of play-by-play. So looking at it that way, how far do you think Lucky Luciano would be able to continue on?
I'm the type of person that I would rather see something rest well than try to resurrect something and kind of destroy what was laid out already. Mm-hmm. I think we did a fantastic job, and to go back and to ruin what we already did. I mean, listen, if it's done the right way and the writing is good, then that's fine. But I'm not just going to take a job just to kind of, like I said, to bankroll, and I don't want to be typecast either. Like Robert De Niro and a couple of other actors, they played, yes, a lot of tough guy mafia roles, but they also played like Robert, what was the film that he did where he was in the hospital with Robin Williams, which I always...
Patch
Adams.
No. Hero.
It was
Awakening.
Awakening. Right, exactly.
Sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong film.
I was thinking yes.
Best films ever.
Absolutely.
In terms of getting prepared for the role, actually, our friend Carolyn, who introduced us, she was curious to know how much you studied to get the character down for Lucky, and what work went into that, and how much did you know about Lucky Luciano before you had this? Was there a lot of...
the broad strokes, of course, we all knew about him. But in terms of preparing for the role, as you guys know, I grew up in Howard Beach, Queens. So growing up, unbeknownst to me, I was best friends with, the head of the mafia of the 80s and 90s era. So I grew up with Peter Gotti, who's John Gotti's youngest son. Mm-hmm. Jesse Burke, who is Jimmy Burke's son. Jimmy Burke is the real name of Robert De Niro's character in Goodfellas. Mm-hmm. In the film, he's named Jimmy Conway, but the real name is Burke.
Correct.
Ruggiero's sons. I mean, the list goes. You watch the film Goodfellas. There are people in the film who lived in my neighborhood. So
My brothers went to school with them also in McLean City, believe it or not, in Queens.
With them. I hung out with them. I lived around the block from John Gotti. So John Gotti and Sammy Guevara used to walk around the block and say hello once in a while.
Right. Gotti used to do the fireworks display every 4th of July out in his neighborhood.
Oh, at the Big Bow Wow.
Yeah. Remember that? Yeah.
It was the best.
Yeah.
In terms of the role here and what you did with Lucky, you guys were reenacting scenes, right? But there were a lot of narrators. It was narrated by Ray Liotta, which we all know. How much interaction did you have with Ray? I mean, did you guys even ever meet, or was it just completely separate where you guys were doing your own thing?
Ray was hired. Ray was not hired until we finished shooting.
Okay.
So they didn't even have Ray attached until we were done. Chaz, I have had a lot of interaction with, especially from when we did the opening, the premiere night. Got a chance to speak with him privately. Really, really great guy. Like him, we were very similar in the terms of the way that we grew up, because, Bronx Tale, it really is how he grew up and the people he grew up around. And I was kind of, the same way, in the sense, I was parking Cadillacs when I was 12 years old for people for money and stuff. Like, it sounds ridiculous. It sounds made up, but somehow true.
So let's talk about some of your other projects. You recently wrapped on My Dead Boyfriend with Heather Graham. Can you tell us a little bit about that movie and what it's about?
You know, it's actually, for some reason, it got really bad reviews in the Times and a couple of other newspapers, but it's doing really well. I mean, and that happens a lot with good pictures,
Sure.
with good films. So critics will be really kind of, they'll bash it, but then the public loves it, and that's what's happening with the film. And it's a great film. It's a retro film. We flash back to the 80s, so the costuming is really nice. Heather and John Corbett, they're fantastic to work with. Had a great time with them. I had a great time with Anthony Edwards. Of course, that's his first film that he's directing. Really nice guy. I'm really happy that it's doing well in spite of the reviews that it initially got.
That's right. And you played a drummer, right? You were Mary's boyfriend in it.
Right. So of course, she comes home to find John Corbett dead, and as she's flashing back in his past, of course, she's in the past, and we're going out. And we're in the same band, and I'm the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how was it working?
Of course, dumps me.
Of course.
Of
You
course.
couldn't be the dead boyfriend. You're the dumped boyfriend.
No, I'd rather be the dumped boyfriend. Dead boyfriend.
How was it working with Heather?
Really, like I said, she's really professional, beautiful, and just really fun to work with. Really, really fun.
Yeah. Must have been a great experience to be on that set. How long did shooting for that last?
I think it was about 2 months, I'm going to say.
Okay.
A good 2 months. It was October, November. So we were filming in the East Village. A little bit chilly, but it was great. I loved it. I'm really happy it was a New York film, that it was filmed in New York, It gives it a nice bite.
And I like that Anthony Edwards is director now. I admire his work. I mean, he's great in Top Gun, Revenge of the Nerds. I mean, it's awesome.
And still acting too. I mean, he was just on a large role on SVU and a couple of other shows, so he's very busy.
Of course, ER he did in the past. Sure.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got a stellar career. Where can people see that film, by the way?
It's on iTunes right now. It's on demand. I think it might have been pulled out of the. I know it was in the theaters for the first 2 weeks here in the city, but you can definitely find it. My Dead Boyfriend, directed by Anthony Edwards. Yeah, I would definitely check it out.
Cool.
Really
we'll leave a link for people on our site as well if it's on VOD, so we can get people to check it out. So, what's your next project? What's in store for you for the future? What are you doing? You're directing, producing?
I'm producing a lot of stuff that I'm actually going to be in. So I have a couple of great films that I'm producing, and I also have a couple of good shows. The two films, one is Amaranth, directed by a very young but very talented director called Mark Schoonmaker. And it's a kind of apocalyptic end of the world, but bringing together humanity kind of film. So you can name a numerous films like that that are going on now, and we have a great cast. I can't name anybody yet, of course. We have a great director. We have a budget in place, and we're going to be scouting locations in Mississippi to start filming, possibly within 6 months.
Cool.
Excellent. Yeah,
So
we wish you success on that. That's great. Yeah.
And another film I'm very excited about is Mr. Chicago. And it deals with the life of a man named Gary Gold, who used to be the right-hand man of Mayor Daley and his constituents in the 60s, 70s era of Chicago. So you can imagine the murder and the money laundering and the melee that was going on at that time. And that still goes on, of course, everywhere. But in Chicago, and the interesting thing about criminality and how, in terms of the government in Chicago, there's not a lot of dirty laundry coming out of there. People don't really like that. And Gary actually had to leave Chicago for 25 years because he had wrote that book and the script. And now it's coming to fruition. The script is amazing, amazing script. We have a couple of people attached to it already. I know Michael Madsen. We've been talking to him. We've also been talking to who is the mafia don in Goodfellas? His daughter is an actress. I can't think of his name right now.
Paul Savino. Paul Savino.
Yes.
Yeah. He loves the script. So
yeah, he's a great actor.
And he's really good.
Oh yeah, I loved him. Yeah.
One of the two TV shows that we're making is called The Undetected. And I've been working on this with Rennie Sharp, who's the producer of it, for about 6 years that he's been holding on to this. And so they're actually meeting with investors right now in New Orleans as we speak, and we're going to get the ball rolling on that as well.
Excellent.
And then I have another pilot that should be coming out called Dead Exit, which is based upon a graphic novel, comic book kind of TV show.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of things that I'm working on. Of course, as you guys know, if you don't start creating things on your own, then you're going to be left behind.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years or so.
Well, you're a busy guy, man, and your work is proving itself. I mean, you've been, like we said, your career has kind of taken off like a rocket ship. I know you're capitalizing. I mean, kind of like when when the momentum shifts, you gotta keep up with it and keep going. What tips do you have for anybody in indie filmmaking looking to break in? I mean, about maybe getting, how you got some of your projects sold, how you're getting them produced. What tips do you have for any indie filmmakers out there looking to get their work found?
You have to just find people who are going to do it the right way. There are a lot of colleges out there, New York Film Academy, all these kids that are looking for talented people to create a piece. So, you find actors that are, willing to take very little money or no money, but to create something great, maybe it'll get into some festivals. And that's the way it's done.
Right.
I mean, a lot of things that are produced take way too much money and make very little money. They bring very little money back. And I don't know how it keeps on going on. The thing that Hollywood is doing incorrectly is thinking that they're going to make a lot of money if a large name is attached. And it's not happening. And it hasn't been happening for the last 10 years. Yeah. So, I'm not waiting for them to wake up about it. So I'm just going to do my thing. I'm going to make some great movies. Everything that I've done has won awards. And, that's the one thing that you can do. Create good content. And somebody will come to you and buy it from you.
Of course.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's great advice. I don't even know where to go from there. I mean, that's a poignant point.
That's a great thing. Rich, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
This has been awesome.
Talking to you. I want to say thank you to Carolyn, of course, my PR on point for introducing us. I can't thank her enough. Carolyn Sams in Las Vegas.
Exactly.
And you guys, whenever it is when you want to contact me again.
We'll do, Rich. We'll be looking forward to seeing more of your work and your new films and all that good stuff.
It was a pleasure talking to you. And
thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks, Rich.